Third segment of the show, along with Nick Theodorakis. Now, let's get to our cash tag segment, and let's bring in Mr. Landon Swan. He is the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. Welcome to our Magnificent Seven show, Landon. Day one, you've got Apple is your assignment. They've got the Worldwide Developers Conference today, but Landon, as you know, they've got a lot more than that going on. Give us your data on Apple.
Sure, and you know what? Let's start with the Worldwide Developer Conference. I think a lot of eyes are on it. It's not as big as the keynote, the annual keynote that they have in September. It gets a lot more. Yeah, that gets a lot more views. But this one is expected to unveil a new product, the virtual reality, augmented reality headset. I think the rumors are it's gonna be a $3,000 product, which is legit. But it'll be the first major new product in quite some time for Apple, and investors are really excited about it. You can see the stock price hitting all-time highs today as we speak. So I think that's gonna carry a lot of weight to see how people react to that new product development. We'll be monitoring it in real time. So I think that's really important. But when you look at it overall, you got to ask yourself, is this company, is it correctly priced at whatever, $184.50, which is basically an all-time high? I can remember when it crossed $1 trillion. Now we're closing in on 3. It's, PE ratio is 31. So it's getting up there, but it's also a dominant company. I mean, when you look at their last quarter revenue, it slipped a little bit, I think 3%. And overall smartphones were down double digits, but iPhone is clearly winning. They're picking up steam. In fact, when we look at the data, this, number of people talking about switching to iPhone versus switching to Android, it is a stark comparison. And you can see it. I think the switching to iPhone is up about 46% on a 3-year comparison, whereas switching to Android is down 19% on a 3-year comparison. So they are going in completely opposite directions. iPhone is they're the dominant player here in the US, but they're starting to take more and more market share all over. So this is, obviously this is their main product. And I think that it's key that even when smartphones are pulling back, people are switching to iPhone at a much faster rate than they're switching to an Android. So they're picking up a lot there. But the bad news is, when we look at, for example, their web data, people visiting Apple.com, which gives us a peek into their revenue. It's not nearly as strong as other companies like Chewy I mentioned before, has a very high correlation to revenue. Apple.com is correlated to the revenue, not that high, but you can see it's down about 8% on a year-over-year basis. And even when we look at the product level, all products are kind of pulling back when it comes to consumer demand. I think AirTags is positive, but the rest of them are negative. So there's a little bit of, I think if you wanted it, you already bought it kind of scenario, which I think is why people are so excited about this headset, because nobody's bought the Apple headset yet, right? You may have a new iPhone last year, or you may have just got the AirPods upgraded, whatever, and you don't need anything for a while, but nobody's got the headset because that's just now coming out. So I do think this is it's a good opportunity for them to shake things up and get investors and consumers a little bit excited about their product lineup this week, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with it.
Not sure how recent that data is, but the new Macs came out very quietly just last week. Those are iterative updates, but fascinating to see your data here, Landon, on the AirTags. They kind of had a slow launch a couple of years ago. Nothing's really changed. Now it's like, boom! It's just a massive uptick in terms of demand. I've been reading about the headset as well. There's so much buzz about what it's going to be. They have to be looking at this and saying, anytime we have a new product out there, people just flock to it, right? I mean, I think the question to me is, how does it fit into the ecosystem? Have you seen anything that kind of pulls that together? Because all the phone and the AirTags, all that kind of mobility stuff makes sense. It seems like a pretty far leap to think you're going to see people start walking around on the street wearing the goggles. I don't know. Are you seeing anything that shows where that demand is coming from? Is it gamers, or where does it fit into the ecosystem, I guess is the question.
Right. Well, I mean, one thing that, you've touched on, and I think we can assume, is that it's going to fit in very well with existing Apple products. I don't know exactly how, but it's going to fit in really well. That's what they do. I mean, it makes it so you'll probably pull it out of the box and it's already set up. Right. And it ties to your phone and AirPods and whatever else. I would think that gamers would be the primary target, and bringing new gamers in would also be it. So, the hardcore gamers, of course, are going to be interested. But I think if you can get someone that isn't a gamer to start thinking about using it casually at home as kind of a fun tool. I know a lot of the other headsets. I've seen a lot of people who aren't gamers use those, and it's really fun. It's like a viral kind of, hey, let me try it next. It's really neat. And if Apple nails this, I think that they could really establish themselves as a dominant player in this space, and it could actually add some momentum to headsets, which I think have been kind of, initially they're cool, but they've been waning a little bit. So this could be a big pop.
Listen, I think what's going on with the metaverse and these headphones. I remember there was a quote by Steve Jobs when they were talking about one of the original Apple computers. Remember, he said, "Make it look like a face." I'll go one step further. Until they make these headsets look like a pair of Oakleys, they're not going to be as popular as they think. Make it look like a pair of Oakleys, and it'll get popular. Landon, thanks for coming on, as always, spending some time with us. We always appreciate it. Day one of the Magnificent Seven show. You'll be on tomorrow covering Tesla. I know LikeFolio will be doing one of those, so we'll see you then. Have a great day, Landon.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yep.
Thanks.